Are we on?
I think we're on.
It's doing that thing again where it doesn't. I can't see the recording light, so I'm gonna
Knock,
have
knock,
to.
knock. Is anyone awake for 8 p.m. Tiger Takes on a Thursday?
Oh, 7 p.m. Central, a little late night edition. This will be fun. I feel like this is kind of a dangerous time because we've already had a full work day, so we're just ready to let loose. But how was your day? What are you up to? Excited for this weekend? I know you're coming down to Auburn tomorrow.
Yeah, I will be there in town tomorrow, which is crazy. I've been looking at the photos of the tip-off at Tumors, and it looks crazy, of course. And Harson's had some great quotes, and of course, Bruce is living his best life as the best ambassador Auburn could buy, literally. So I'm jealous I'm not there now, but I can't wait to get down there. The people that live in Auburn and people I know that are going says the hype around the town is just unmatched for a game that we thought maybe 2 weeks ago when Georgia State, when we squeaked by with a win against them, may be a little uglier than it is seemingly now amongst Auburn fans. But you were out in the floods all day. I know you're down in Arab. How is that? How are you feeling?
Oh yeah, first off, like everyone that's suffered or been affected by the floods, I mean, I've seen it firsthand. It was awful. So here at Tiger Takes, we are thinking about you, praying for you. I cannot imagine what some people felt all day today. So that was my day, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing it tonight is because I was out in Arab, and just talking to people. And I will say this, which is just so interesting. Arab, Marshall County, out that way, one of the highest elevated places in the state. And so they were saying, we're not used to just like sitting water. It recedes easily, but they just got so much rain last night, and the hills, the valleys, the creeks, it comes. That's why it's called flash flood. I mean, it comes so fast. So yeah. So just once again, we're thinking about everyone there and everyone impacted by the floods. But absolutely. I have one more work day before we go to Auburn. Allie and I are going as fans. If you see us,
it's crazy.
Please talk to us. This is the first Auburn game I will be able to attend, or I'm going to be able to attend as a fan for a while, and the first since 2016 Clemson. That's the last time I was a fan. Isn't that crazy?
That's a wild stat here on Tiger Take. So you haven't been back in 5 years as a fan. And what a game to come back for.
Oh my gosh. Yes, my dad, he's going to get down there super early. I'm going to get down there super early Saturday. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I'm interested to know how you feel heading into this game because, we love Summerton, Alabama. Hello, Wayne, War Eagle. Because LSU, we knew it was going to be a doozy. And you even mentioned falling asleep, and I'm shocked I made it to the end, and it was like, a good game in the second half. It was tough. So I can only imagine how tired the players are emotionally, physically. But what are your just quick thoughts on the trip to Baton Rouge and gearing up for Georgia?
Yeah, I mean, I think we both have to eat some crow. We both thought and hoped that TJ Finley would get the start, and he did get a series that Harsin said he did earn in practice, but man, if there was a game for Bo Nix to man up and say, kiss my behind to the crowd and fans and commentators and press, what a game. I mean, it was almost like watching like a surreal out-of-body experience. I literally, was tweeting like it felt like a simulation. Like every single play, him scrambling, him saying I didn't even see Tyler Fromm and I just saw the hair flapping through the back. Like it was almost surreal, and it seemed like it for the players too, right? Like it seemed like every play was almost just like they couldn't believe it was happening either. And smoke him if you got him, 1999. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. I teared up. I didn't put my purple streak in my hair because I couldn't find purple dye, but I did cry a little, and it just gave this team, I think, something that we haven't seen in a couple years from an Auburn team: a spark, a fight, a dirty, grinding fight. And in that second half, there people were calling for Derek Mason's head and, oh my God, the wide receiver coach, look how bad they're playing, stirring the pot. And they came out and showed out that second half, and from all cylinders. The offensive line stepped it up. The defensive line stepped it up. They got pressure. The secondary stepped it up to, stop Boutte from getting the yards that he seemingly was scorching in the first half.
Almost he tore up our booties in the first half. So.
Exactly. So it was that second half was something that, like I said, Auburn fans have been almost waiting for, to see some fight from a team, and especially with Bo Nix leading it. And, the players came out afterwards and like, that's my quarterback. That's my man. The locker room video that Auburn tweets after wins, they were just going crazy in Baton Rouge, and deservingly so. And Hurst even said, we're going to enjoy this tonight. And I think they deserve it. No matter what happens this upcoming Saturday, what they were able to accomplish will go down in history. And Bo Nix, rightfully so, deserved his spot as a hell of a game.
I agree. And yeah, we said TJ should start. I'm not going to sit here and say how the game would have gone if he did start.
Either
we
way,
don't know. But, and everyone's like, oh, there's Bo Nix fans this week. Where were y'all last week? Last week he played awful. So, yeah, we're when you critique a player, we're not sitting here saying we hate the guy.
Absolutely.
Like, he deserved all the praise. He did a great job this week against Georgia
Absolutely.
State. He did not. So, I mean, we eat our words with that, but who knows? I mean, I'm still a big TJ fan and can't wait to see what he does the rest of the season, how him and Bo, if Harsin continues to wind him in the plan, in the offensive plan. And I just think one of my favorite things to do after a win or a loss is to just go to the players' Instagram stories and just see what they say, go to their tweets. They're always really fun. And you just felt the pride after this game, and you felt how proud they were, as they should be. And that was something cool, because we talked about it. A lot of these people, a lot of these players, most weren't even born. So, like, their entire life, they haven't get it. It's like, we get it. We were alive, and our parents get it, but these guys were like, we're not going to let you down again. And I love the pride, and I hope that confidence, that really just the pride they feel carries over into this week.
Yeah.
2:30 kickoff.
Unreal. But I think some players that stood out a lot against LSU were some that we kind of been waiting for. Colby Wooden, had a phenomenal game and was probably the best defensive player for Auburn that entire game. Just really stepped up when that defensive line needed it desperately. War Eagle to all the fans are so happy. I think we have a ton of people from all over the state watching us on this nightly Tiger Takes edition. So thanks for watching, you guys. We're basically just recapping our group text from LSU. Too bad you guys all can't be in it on Saturday. I'm pretty sure I was speaking gibberish by 1:30 Eastern by the time the game was over. But, Colby Wooden had an outstanding game. Jarquez Hunter, arguably, if people are saying Tank is healthy, then you can't argue that Jarquez might be the running back number one. The kid plays such hard SEC true running back every single down, and rightfully so, might get the start against Georgia. He played hard. Sean Shivers had, without his big explosive plays on the perimeter, Auburn doesn't win, right? You had Tyler Fromm step up. There's a lot of guys that we've kind of been waiting on to see what they were going to do with big moments, including Bo himself, but some guys that really needed to stand up for Bo and on that defense, and we saw it, which is good news. You don't want to peak too early. You don't want to peak too late. And I think peaking against LSU to get that first win with the voodoo magic and the curse and whatever you have around that team, it was something to behold, and we'll see. Like you said, it's a 2:30 kickoff. So I'd love to get your thoughts on where you're at mentally. I still am not determined where I'm at mentally, but where are you heading into this Georgia game?
Oh, I'm numb. Real quick, I want to bring this up, Allie. Are you off your laptop or computer?
I am on my computer, but I did see someone said Tank's Instagram.
Tank's IG. I'm on my phone, so
let me take a look at it.
Yeah, I don't know what it says, but we will. Tiger Takes investigates.
We're live edition. We're here rocking it. Keep that same energy. And it looks like it's him scoring a touchdown against Penn State in the end zone, unless he's deleted one. But that's his story right now, is him in the end zone with keep that same energy and the zippy smiley face, which is good. Maybe he did get bumped to running back number 2. A healthy running back room with competition is, I think, what every team needs. And when you guys have the talent, it's crucial for it to be competitive, right? You can ask Coach Cadillac, which is wild when they call him that. Cadillac Williams, the running back coach, and they say, Coach Williams says it starts and ends with the running backs. With this talent that this running back room has, it ends, a game can start and end with them. If they're off, it's going to be an ugly game. And if they're on, it could turn some heads and really challenge a defense. And I think if Tank is feeling the pressure, good.
Mm-hmm.
You have a freshman who's coming in and is now starting to, get the accolades. Good. You
in his
deserve
cowboy
that. Just like,
boots, Jarquez kicking the dust
exactly.
up.
But we talk about with TJ Finley and Bo. Like, Bo got benched. TJ came in, won the game, and that pushed Bo in practice. And he said it. He was like, I knew I had to get better.
Yeah.
There was no option. And so I don't see what the difference would be in that running back, especially with the talent and the depth that Auburn has. I mean, you can't do wrong by starting them. And I think it's only good if that competition continues, especially against Georgia.
And if anyone can sit there and be a leader and be a coach and talk about running back room competition, it is Cadillac. He was still, great friends with Ronnie Brown, and they were just the 1-2 punch that everyone still adores. And no one's really lived up to what they were able to do back in, the early 2000s. So I think that's great as well. And I don't know. I think we've said all along this season, there were so many unknowns coming in. We're starting to get a better picture, and we're starting to see, even as Harsin said, like, we have some depth. And I think especially the past 3-4 years at Auburn, we've had one quarterback. We've had one good running back. I think with Marlon and Derek Brown, that was kind of cool, having like two big defensive guys. But other than that, it's been these one-stop shops at positions. And it's new territory for us, Other schools in the SEC, you can list 10,000 players they have that are great, but it's nice and I'm glad that the players are feeling it, because you want to be the standard, you want to be the best you can be. Well, guess what? Players like this on good teams all across the country feel the heat every single week. So,
and people transfer. If Auburn fans are worried that kids are still going to start transferring, good. I don't see Alabama fans complaining when a 5-star has to transfer because another 5-star came in and beat him out. I mean, that's the nature of college football. That's the business that the standard of Nick Saban has created. And I think if Auburn wants to be on, will we ever be Alabama? No. It is Nick Saban once in a lifetime. Yes. But the standard's there. And if you want to compete year in, year out, week in, week out, you have to understand that some guys that are crowd favorites may not be the best on the field. And I think that's something that Harsin is definitely changing culture-wise. He has zero loyalty. We talk about this all the time on Tiger Takes. Zero loyalty to any kid on this team. And that's not to say he doesn't love them. He's not a fan of them as coaches, but he has no loyalty to anybody but the best that he sees in that practice field. And he is not afraid to challenge the status quo. And that is, again, just very unique to Auburn fans. And I think is kind of causing a little uncertainty and a little nervousness heading into a game that for the past decade has been unfun to be here.
This game against Georgia, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
And we're going back to how we feel. I do feel kind of numb. I don't know how to feel. Because I have the ghost of Georgia State past haunting me.
It's like a devil. You have like the LSU Angel and the Georgia State Devil that are like, which one's going to win? We don't know.
Oh, my gosh. Chad Balio said, what about the wide receivers? Do we have any thoughts on that? I thought they played better and as the game went on at LSU. And I think it's going to be and as the season progresses, group that's going to have to change. When we forgot that, oh, by the way, Coach Keyes, new wide receiver coach, started last week, and I think they got it together, and the running game helped them out there in the second half, and obviously Bo, making throws there. I mean, we'll see. Now, gosh, I mean, I guess we can talk about Georgia starting with that running game. Like, their defense is nasty. And Auburn on their home turf and is going to really, really, really have to play clean. We've said it. They have not had clean games this season. They have had a lot of drop passes. And people against Penn State was like, you can't drop that pass and win that game. And that is 100% true going in to playing the Bulldogs. So, I mean, I just think they're going to have to excel. They're going to have to bring it. They're going to have to play a perfect game to get the win. Yes, Jordan Hare's going to be rocking. We know this. Like, it's going to be.
When was the last time you saw players and coaches, I mean, absolutely calling out for Jordan Hare? It's giving me very like 2017 Georgia vibes. Like, they played at home, and Jordan Hare might have been one of the loudest I've heard it in a very, very, very long time. And it's giving me like that almost like, holy smokes, you might have to bring like earplugs to this game because it's going to be absolutely insane. And I'm so glad we're going to be there.
Oh my gosh, that game was crazy. I got in trouble by my news director in Florida because I was anchoring the news that weekend, but I wouldn't stop tweeting about Auburn, Georgia. And he was like, "You've got to stop."
We have other news in Florida.
The 2017 Georgia Auburn energy, you called it. That is exactly what needs to happen, and that is the atmosphere. And, you know, creds to Kirby Smart talking about how it is one of the most, you know, difficult places to play. I hope that puts a little bit more respect on coming into to Auburn. It's very difficult, and he knows it as well as anybody. I just, and I will say this, before LSU, it gave me 2012 Georgia vibes. Or are people going to even go to the game because you just know a whooping's coming? Like, that was a bad. And you even said it. I don't think you went. I didn't go that year. I mean, and we're students. You should always go.
Yeah,
but,
we should always go. But yeah, no, I mean, it's true.
And LSU gave us that. Okay, like, was it a pretty game at times? No, but we've said this all season. Auburn has not quit. They have played down to the last second of every game, and it has paid off for them, except for, you know, App State. But their fight was there then. So, I mean, I'm not overly confident by any means. I'm not going to even sit here and say, oh, Auburn's going to win. But I do feel like it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a battle. And if things go correctly, if Auburn can play clean, I think, you know, they can hang with Georgia.
Yeah. You know, I think it's hard, you know. First of all, whatever Harson's selling this team is bought 110% over. I mean, there were so many times in the LSU game where I was like, it's over. Like, this, if this is the Auburn team in the last 3 years, it's done. There is no hope for this game. And by God, he came out and lit them up in the locker room, and it was a different game. And that is what makes good teams, is when teams buy in fully to what the coach is selling, and that respect level on both sides to know that, like, what I'm teaching you, what the plays I'm calling, if you execute, they're going to be right. But it's like a respect thing, right? You know, players get mad at the calls that are being, you know, questioned and blah, blah, blah. The players aren't executing, and it's like a back and forth, like, oh, who's wrong? Is the players not being good enough? Is the calls not being good enough? And I just don't really see that in this team. Like, I just don't see players getting frustrated. I don't see the coaching staff getting frustrated. Like, it's a very mutual respect that Harson's built. And I think it does come down to really hard practices. I think it does come down to fundamentals. I think it does come out to him saying, you know, if you don't want to be here, then don't be here. Then Auburn doesn't owe you anything. You know, one of my favorite quotes of all time is like, if you love Auburn, Auburn will love you back. And it's true. And I think Harsin is saying that, like, if you don't want to be here, then you don't have to be here. But you're not going to step on this field if you're not going to put 110% in. And that includes practice. It doesn't just come on Saturdays. And I think that's also what this Auburn team has that maybe in the years past hasn't. These kids are putting in the week effort and coming in on Saturday well prepared. I think, does Bo have magic left? I don't know how he wouldn't want to push everything he's got. Do I think he's going to need a little more help than other people around him? Yes. Do I think that he's going to be able to scampy and scurry and make unbelievable plays against Georgia's defense? No. But do I think that he proved himself and maybe that helped the players buy into him a little more? Yeah, I think that showed a lot of guts to what he did. You know, and kind of spinning. This is the first time, you know, one of my other favorite quotes is, you know, Georgia's all talk Alabama, but the Vandy, you know, trophy case. Put that on a button and sell it. And by God, if you were to look on Georgia Twitter, you would think they won the national championship 10 years in a row and ain't nobody touching. Auburn doesn't even deserve to be on the same field as almighty Georgia. And let me tell you, that cockiness can come back and bite. And Georgia fans know that better than anyone, that if you're extra cocky and you come into a game, you know, like Auburn against Georgia State, things can get ugly real fast. And I just wouldn't expect Georgia. I just don't see this game getting blown out by 70. I just don't see Auburn not at least hanging at home with a crowd fired up, with a team coming off such an LSU win. Like, I just don't see that. Again, we've been proven wrong over and over here on Tire Takes, but I just think the cockiness level that is bleeding from the team and into the fan base, they clearly don't know Auburn chaos. I think I saw a stat, Auburn's never played a team 126 times. So, like, there is no record on how many times Auburn won. And that is a chaos for Auburn stat that has it written all over it. And a lot of these kids are Georgia kids, right? You've got Demetrius Robertson, who just traveled, Tyler Fromm's brother, the almighty Jake Fromm at Georgia. I mean, there's a lot of Georgia ties. A lot of these guys go up against Georgia in recruiting. Auburn's lost a lot of recruits. When you look at the Georgia roster, you can go down the list and see, oh, Auburn lost him and Auburn lost him. And, you know, these players know that. They understand they're going up against the potentially number one team in the country to some people. That's not naive. These players don't live in a fantasy land.
Like we do.
So I think, like we do, exactly. But the difference is I think this Auburn team is much more prepared to handle blowbacks. If they get down 14-0, it's not game over, which I think is very, very important in a game like this.
Oh my gosh. And I think that's the biggest thing you can take away from the whoopsie daisies against Alabama State and Georgia State and getting down against LSU was it's a whole nother thing to come back and to fight back. And they've proven they can do that. So, and you know, that's how these games are going to be. Like, that's how it always is against Bama, and that's how it is against Georgia.
Yeah.
It's a win every play. The fans are locked into every play. Like, there's no messing around. Like, you have to fight through this game. So
who are your three? Who do you think, if you could name three kids for Auburn on both sides of the ball, like three total on the team, who are the three players that you think need to have the best game of their career and or season to be able to take this win?
I mean, I hope Tank gets back in it. He's from Georgia, and, you know, he's going to have plenty of friends on that team. And I think everyone, especially after LSU, like, when you're asking if a player's hurt and the coach is like, he's fine, you're like, okay, well, that's weird. Second, I still don't think he's hit his break yet. Like, he had a, you know, fun run, first touchdown against Akron, but it just seems like this, you know, he'll get a couple steps, you know, get going, but he'll either fall or, like, he can't just break away. He's, like, still, like, on the edge of that bubble. So I feel like this could be a big game for him to come out and, like, let's see the Tank that we all know is there. Like, he is top of the country, but I think people are still wanting more. They've not gotten, he has not gotten to his potential. So I think that'll be, you know, a huge game for him to come out there. And I think the line, like, as a unit, you know, we talked about how they've got to fight for Bo, and they've got to block, and they've got to give him the time against Georgia's defense. So I hope, you know,
prayers to the line, let me tell you.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, people are healthy, and the LSU game was a good indication to really, like, buckle down like they did in the second half and give Bo some time. And then, of course, I mean, gosh, I really do hope Owen Papo plays, and that'll be a huge difference maker as well. And hopefully, I mean, it seems optimistic, so that'll be good. But I just think for Demetrius Robertson, I mean, he's going to have that Trey Matthews energy coming over here and, like, wanting to get revenge. And Harsin wanted him. He got him. He wanted him to be, you know, the leader in this wide receivers group. So I think we haven't seen the best of him either. So I think, you know, if Tank comes out, and I think Tank's the key here. I think if Tank actually comes out and has a great game, like, I think that'll just be game changer. And we haven't seen an Auburn team that has Hunter firing on all cylinders as well as Tank. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's
I agree. I think another super important player that we definitely has been consistent, but seems to be almost that leader on that defense is Zacoby McClain. When he's on and he is playing, the defense is different. It's just a different vibe. It's a different energy. And I think that's going to be very important because we know who Georgia's defense is. We get it. We've got it. They're the king of the earths. Like by God, they're going to go the top 15 in the draft. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No one's coming near them. We get it. We got it. So I think that Auburn defense needs to take it as a chip on their shoulder too. I mean, no one's talking about them. Derek Mason has made some second half adjustments or just busted their chops to execute in the second half. And they've pretty much shut almost everyone out in the second half, which is pretty unbelievable. And I would take that as a chip on my shoulder. I would say, wow, everyone's talking about the Georgia defense. What about the Auburn defense?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what are we doing? And I think a weak link, if you were to say on the Georgia team, is their wide receivers. I mean, they have so many guys hurt that are down. And their quarterback. I mean, do I think Stetson or whatever the hell, what's it? It's Stetson, right?
Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, Stetson Bennett. That's right. And it's like Stetson Bennett the third or something. I think that he is a Heisman candidate? No, I don't. Do I think that he can get the job done? Yes, I can. So do I think that's a weak link for the Auburn Georgia team? Yes. And do I think this defense can take opportunity? Yes. And I think they need to have a chip on their shoulder to make a statement for the other guys on the field too. Bennett Stetson. Exactly.
That's
yeah.
like tomato. The name Stetson and Bennett.
Interchangeable. And I think last week too against Arkansas, shout out to Ole Miss and Arkansas for playing so bad that no matter what happened in that LSU Auburn game, that we were still getting the 3 p.m. game against Georgia. So shout out to those two teams for really just playing so bad that it didn't matter what Auburn
I was
did.
nervous for a second. Not obviously that when the games got going, I wasn't nervous. But I remember texting Allie like a week and a half ago. I was like, "Dadgummit!" I was like, "They're gonna give it to Ole Miss."
7 a.m. mimosas for us.
I'm gonna literally lose my mind. Like, this is the one game I just want to go to and tailgate and
But the Georgia fans were pissed that JT Daniels wasn't starting and that he was hurt. And so there's not that necessarily so much confidence in this SBBS, whatever his name is, that he's like the almighty king. He's not a Bryce Young that Alabama has. He's not necessarily a Bo Nix, like a ride or die. So I think there's opportunities if execution. What Auburn cannot do is get behind the chains, field goals in the red zone, and penalties, and give Georgia yardage on penalties. That's just unacceptable at game 5 of the season. As we hear the clicking noise of Lido, it's just unacceptable. Right?
And Lido's being an angel,
of course.
2 dogs.
Seeing dogs already being bad. To give Georgia extra yardage off penalties. Like, it's just unacceptable at this stage and at what this team, it's a young Auburn team at some positions, but it's a pretty veteran team at some others too. And especially on that line, they cannot afford holding. They cannot afford, too many men on the field. They can't afford stupid penalties that allow Georgia to take control of that game early. And I think those are the 3 keys. Again, can't get behind on the chains, cannot afford field goals in the red zone. When you get down there, you have got to score 6. It is crucial to do that. And you can't afford ill penalties or pass interference on the defense. Auburn gets called for that quite a bit on the secondary. You cannot afford that when you are 3rd and 10 and giving up a pass interference. Like, it is just not, you can't do that. You can't do that in this game. You can get away with it against Akron. You can get away with it against Alabama State, but Georgia capitalizes on every opportunity, and Auburn needs to do the same. And I would say turnovers too. God almighty, how many were the almost interceptions and turnovers against LSU where just nothing was falling Auburn's way? It has to fall Auburn's way. There has to be some kind of turnover for Auburn to have a real fighting chance to get that W on Saturday.
So let's talk about some fun stuff before we wrap up. Like I said, Allie and I are going to be there in Auburn.
I'm like sweating. Like, Saturday. I literally can't believe it. Like, we're playing Georgia. And also it's just like so nuts that we're playing Georgia like in October. And because like last year was the first year with the date switch, but like it was COVID. It was in Athens. No one, I didn't really think twice about it. But we're playing Georgia in October.
Oh, and Allie will tell you
It's
I'm
insane.
still on my November calendar because the dress I ordered to wear is like a long sleeve
For a
coat.
winter
I'm not
outfit, like
wearing
we were playing in the snow.
And
And I was
she's
like,
like,
it's gonna be like
honey,
80 degrees.
it is 80 degrees. You're not wearing that dress. So I've been scrambling like Bo Nix, you know, and trying to figure out what to wear. But I'm
It is a
excited
navy
to
out.
tailgate. What?
It's a navy out, I believe, or maybe not an official navy out, but I think they're calling for the fans to wear navy, which looked very cool again in the 2017 Georgia Auburn game. All the dark, and that's when the swag surf kind of kicked off for Auburn. And Auburn was expected to lose that game too, I think, if I remember correctly. Like they were expected to lose at home against Georgia, and I think what did we end up winning, like 30? And it would just be. God, it would just feel nice. I mean, I like think about it. I tweeted that I would convince myself by week's end that Auburn was going to win the game, and I'm almost there. I'm not there yet, but I'm almost there. But I know as soon as I step on that campus tomorrow, the orange and blue glasses are going on, and the Tiger Sunshine Pumpkin's coming out, and Harsin the King will be there. And it's a big recruiting weekend too. You know, they've got some huge hitters that are going to be on campus. There's a ton of former players that it sounds like it's coming. Jeff Hall in the Sensei is coming back, and he had some phenomenal plays against Auburn. Would I cry if Cam Newton was on the sidelines? Yes, I would cry if Cam Newton was on the sidelines. Like, there are some heavy hitters that are coming back, and the energy is really nice. You know, it's been really nice for a team when they really have their backs up against a wall, but for there just to be energy in this fan base, it just feels good. Mm-hmm. Right. And it's why I don't want this to be a blowout. It's why I don't want it to be embarrassing. It's why I don't want to give the Vandy Trophy case, you know, any smack talk on Twitter. Like, I want it to be a close game because I think this team deserves it. I think they've really fought to get here. And I think Harsin's really proven what kind of coach he's going to be for Auburn, that they really need a close game to just like continue that momentum through the rest of the season. Because there's some big games coming up. The season's not over with Georgia. You know, you got Arkansas on the road. You have Ole Miss at home coming up. Like, there's still some big games outside of Georgia that this team can't afford to go, you know, on a losing streak the month of October.
We cannot be the spooky football team that gets haunted in
October. I think I'd cry.
Oh gosh. Well, I'm excited. If y'all see us, come talk to us. It's been nice seeing some people. I got to talk with the Tiger Takes viewer at the Georgia State game in the stands, and I was there shooting, and it was so fun. And we love doing this and love hearing from y'all. And yeah, so I'm just excited. What are we toasting to this week?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. You know, I'm gonna toast to, which I think is gonna, you know, baffle some minds. I'm going to toast to Mike Bobo. I'm going to toast to him having something in his back pocket. You know, Georgia fans, oh, you've got our sloppy seconds. Well, you have half of ours too. So I'm going to toast to Mike Bobo because I think he called a pretty stellar game against LSU. I think he made right calls in the end zone. I think he made bold calls. I think he let Bo Nix do what Bo Nix does best and use his feet and his athleticism, which we really haven't seen this season. And I think he might have a little something for Kirby Smart and that defense. I really do. And so I'm going to toast to him. And it's always nice to get a win against your former team. I'm sure it would feel extra nice to take Georgia out. And Georgia has some tough games coming up too. I mean, the season's not a walk in the park. Kentucky's looking mighty good over there in the East, you know, having some big wins and really being on a momentum swing. So again, this isn't season defining for either team, but it's crucial. And I think that's something that Auburn can take too, is like, you know, if they knock the almighty Georgia down, dominoes come down with them, which would be fun. It's always fun to cause a little chaos.
Yes, especially for you. You love this week.
No, this is my favorite week.
To swag surfing in the student section. Happened a few times this year, but not in like the fourth quarter. It happened earlier in the game. And so I just know that this is going to be like the TikTok worthy swag surfing dance that goes viral.
I'm like right. I'm like breaking out. I'm like so just ready to be there.
I'm just so happy. So I'm gonna toast my little water. Already out. I'm nervous and just chugging away over here.
Hydrate, folks. 3:30 games, 2:30 games come at you real fast. So if you're coming to the game, it's gonna be hot. I think it's gonna be like 82 degrees. So
So do not wear
Mix
your sweater dresses like I was about
Yeah,
to.
do not wear booties, jeans, and a long sleeve shirt. But yeah, that's our show. Thanks for hanging out on a little Thursday edition. This is fun. We've had a lot of comments. And
I
some good
like
viewers.
doing it to wrap up the day, honestly. I mean, like,
Yeah.
this won't be our normal time, but we're kind of experimenting with some stuff. And this is nice. I feel like we're more chill.
Yeah.
Like, the workday is over. Let's talk some football.
And I'm just ready for it to be here. I think that's, the smack talk, I mentioned it already on the show, but it's gotten almost unbearable on Twitter with Georgia people. It's just insane to me that you really would think that they've won a national championship. And they haven't. And we want to talk about Auburn not winning at LSU since 1999. Imagine not winning a natty since 1980. I literally can't relate.
Yeah.
At all. Like, literally cannot relate because my team has. So the smack talk's gone ugly, toxic. I know it's gonna be chippy on the field. I think Harson's gonna have a chip on his shoulder. I don't think it's gonna be kumbaya like sometimes we've seen with Auburn coaches and the Georgia coaches doing a little elbow rub in before the games. I think it's gonna be a little chippy. I think Harson's a tough guy, and I don't think he's gonna take a loss easy. But yeah, that's it. If you guys see us on Saturday, come say hey. We're going to be around and we're going to be there rocking and cheering just as loud as you guys are.
Now Lito wants to say hello. He's been bugging me. So say hey to
and go pick up your game day button. It's UGA, which is a classic. So go get your button, go out and tailgate, go root for Auburn. Whatever happens. And fingers crossed, it's going to be a close one, folks.
Y'all have a great week. We'll see you down on the plains. Bye.